Hello dear children, welcome to your channel Ing T. Dear children, please subscribe your channel for future videos. My dear children, today we will learn conditional clause or if clause. Let us read the following sentence. If you reach the station in time, you will get the train. There might be a question, what is if clause? If clause says that if the condition is fulfilled, then that thing happens in the main clause. So the first clause is called subordinate clause and the second clause is called main clause. This is if clause, this is main clause. If this condition is fulfilled, this thing happens in the main clause. Let us understand the if clause structure deeply. If you reach the station in time, you will get the train. Here, the first sentence is called if clause and it has if at the beginning. We call it subordinate clause. The second sentence is called main clause. You can use if clause in the beginning or at the end of the main clause. For example, if you heat ice, it melts. You can write it if clause in the beginning, or you can write it vice versa, means you can write the main clause in the beginning and the subordinate clause or if clause at the end. The only change you find here, if you start with if clause, you need to put comma in between the main clause and subordinate clause. If you use the main clause in the beginning, there is no need to use comma. You can write directly here, ice melts if you heat it. There are four types of conditional sentences. These conditional sentences are also known as conditional clauses or if clauses. They are used to express the action in the main clause without if, can only take place if a certain condition in the clause with if is fulfilled. Let's understand the first conditional, or you can say zero conditional type 1 here. The zero conditional is used when the time being referred to is now or always and the situation is real and possible. Please remember, the zero conditional is often used to refer the general truths. See here. The form is like this: if plus simple present, means if clause has simple present tense and the main clause is also in simple present. Example, if you heat ice, it melts. You know it. This is general truth. If you heat ice, it melts. ನೀವು ಐಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಸಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕರಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾರ್ವತ್ರಿಕ ಸತ್ಯ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಸಾರ್ವತ್ರಿಕ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ we use this zero conditional. And this is second conditional, type 2. We use this second conditional or type 2 when it is possible and also very likely that the condition will be fulfilled. The form is like this. If plus simple present, means if clause has simple present tense and the main clause will have the future tense with will. Example, if you read well, you will pass the exam. So this conditional is possible, is very likely possible. So we call it conditional type 2. So we use simple present with if here. See, if you read well, simple present, you will pass the exam, future tense. So let us understand with more example. So let us complete the conditional sentence type 2 examples by filling the gap. There will be a caution in the exam. You need to fill the correct form of verb here for conditionals. If they send this letter now, I dash receive it tomorrow. There might be a question like this. You need to fill with the correct conditional verb form here. If they send this letter now, so if they send this letter now, simple present, conditional type 2, this one. So the main clause takes future tense. I will receive it tomorrow. The next sentence, if I pass this exam, I dash get government job. So the answer is very simple. If I pass this exam, I will get the government job, because if simple present, so we use will here. Conditional type 2. If I find your book, I dash give it back to you. Very simple answer. If I find your book, I will give it back to you. If you study hard, you dash pass the exam. The answer is very easy. If you study hard, you will pass the exam. Let us understand conditional sentence type 3. This type 3 is a sentence if clause which is having past in if clause. It is possible but very unlikely that the condition will be fulfilled. Means this is possible but very unlikely. You can't get it back, but the thing is that this condition can be fulfilled. Form is like this: if plus simple past. So if clause has your simple past tense, then conditional means the main clause has the conditional would plus infinitive, or you can say present form of main verb. Example, if you read well, you would pass the exams. Here, if you read well, if you read well, you would pass the exam. So here, if you read well is simple past. The conditional past is used here, will become would here. You would pass the exam. We call it conditional past of will. So you would pass the exam. So this condition is possible but very unlikely that the condition will be fulfilled. You can't fulfill it. It's over now. Let us understand with few more examples. If they sent this letter now, I dash receive it tomorrow. Very simple. It's very obvious. Would comes here in the gap. If they sent this letter now, I would receive it tomorrow. Next sentence. If I pass this exam, I dash get government job. If I pass this exam, I would get government job. If I found your book, I dash give it back to you. If I found your book, I would give it back to you. If you studied harder, you dash pass the exam. If you studied harder, you would pass the exam. Let's go to next conditional. This is very important conditional for your example, sorry, your exam purpose. This conditional is impossible that the condition will be fulfilled because it refers to the past. The condition cannot be fulfilled here because already over past. The form will be if plus past perfect. So the next one is conditional second to, means conditional second here refers to conditional to is would plus have. So we use will past form would with have form, a would have and past participle. For example, if you had read well, you would have passed the exam. See here, if you had read well. So if you had read well, you had read well is past perfect, and the second conditional is main clause here. You would have passed the exam. Let us understand with few more example. If they had sent this letter now, I dash receive it tomorrow. So the answer is, if they had sent it this letter, I would have received it tomorrow. If I had passed this exam, I dash get government job. If I had passed this exam, I would have got government job. If I had found your book, I dash given it back to you. If I had found your book, I would have given it back to you. If you had studied harder, you dash pass the exam. If you had studied harder, you would have passed the exam. My dear children, I hope you understood the conditional sentences or if clause very easily. If there is any problem, if you are not understanding it, you need to watch it again and again for your better understanding. uh, I hope you understood it. We will meet again in the next video. Till then, you need to subscribe my channel for future videos. Have a nice day. Thank you.